All right, back with another episode of This Week in NFL Analytics. I made a joke last episode that perhaps a better title for this show would be something like Random Assortment of NFL Analytics Community Things that are going on, slash projects people are working on, slash projects that I'm working on. But I think This Week in NFL Analytics is probably a more concise, better title. Calling this 2023 season preview number two. We got actual NFL regular season football tonight, so very excited about that. It's been a long off season, and we finally made it. So let's get started. Probably the most exciting thing to me is these new fields we got for NFL Read R, NFL Fast R, and also NFL Data Pi. I don't think it's quite there yet, but I'm sure it'll be there. These new fields come from FTN. I'll link all the sources below, but um, this data is very exciting to me because it was previously unavailable. You would need either somebody to be watching the game film, which I think is what FTN did, and or have some kind of advanced tracking algorithm to record this data. So it's things like if there was motion on a play, play action, screen pass, RPO, trick play, a lot of new data that opens a whole new world of possibilities. Very exciting. I've got some charts coming up. I've dove into the data myself a little bit. Um, and yeah, it's very exciting. We've got all the data available for the 2022 season, and I believe it'll be going forward. They're going to, be providing this data as an open source resource for everyone. So very exciting. Here's the first example of exploration of this data. So taking a look at RPO, run pass option, frequency and efficiency. So x-axis is just number of RPO plays. Y-axis is EPA per RPO play, so efficiency. I think the biggest thing I'm noticing a couple things. The two Super Bowl teams are, the most frequent users of RPO and the most efficient with it. I think that's very interesting. I think based on that fact, we can look forward to defenses adapting to RPO more, and also probably offenses trying to copy what the Chiefs and Eagles did last year with RPO. So I'll be interested to see, teams are constantly trying to over innovate, ahead of each other and get ahead of the game. So we'll see how efficient RPO is this year and how frequent it is compared to last year. The other thing I notice is just how crazy efficient the Dolphins were with RPO, but they only use it like a slightly above league average amount. I'm guessing if Tua were healthy the whole year, the Dolphins would be a lot closer to the Chiefs and the Eagles on this chart, but I guess we'll never know. Maybe we'll see it more this year. But yeah, there's that. Next, screen pass frequency versus drive success rate. So x-axis is just percentage of plays that the offense is using a screen pass, and y-axis is drive success rate. So if the team scored points or not on the drive. I got to thank Arjun Menon on Twitter. He gave me the suggestion. I think he's pretty good with R, better than I am, to add some grid lines since the x-axis is a percentage field. So that was helpful. Something I notice here is the top offenses, what you would consider the top offenses of last year, are mostly in the first quadrant, the top right. But except for there's like a small cluster where the Cowboys, Bills, and Bengals, who also very efficient offenses, but did not use screen passes at a very frequent rate compared to other teams. It's just interesting how offenses can find different ways to succeed and score points, and some need screen passes and some don't. So very interesting. Next, we got this Big Data Bowl mentorship program, which was announced a week or so ago by the NFL Football Operations Department. I think it's just an opportunity to get with somebody that works in NFL analytics, probably for a team, I would imagine, and kind of like it says here, a mentorship program. Learn from them, get some advice. I'm sure they'll maybe get you started on the right foot with the Big Data Bowl competition coming up in 2024. And I applied. I think it's meant for they're going to give priority to people from disadvantaged backgrounds or underrepresented backgrounds. So I believe the applications close today if they haven't closed already. But that'd be interesting. interesting to see how the program goes. Um, I mentioned this guy a couple slides ago. He helped me out on Twitter, but Arjun Menon, kind of this is my main point or main piece of evidence for this Thursday night game to look forward to is just how well the Lions targeted the middle of the field last year when passing, and how bad the Chiefs were at defending the middle of the field. So I find that interesting. I wonder if this is going to hold year over year with all the roster changes to both of these teams. You know, I think tight ends tend to succeed, are targeted more in the middle of the field. So if you were gambling based on this chart, perhaps Sam Laporta, the Lions' new tight end, would be perhaps a good bet to make here on maybe either his passing yards or touchdown or something like that. But I'll be watching the middle of the field for the Lions' offense for sure. All right, this one comes from Joseph Hefner. It's kind of a look at the initial 53-man roster announced by teams, which I believe all teams have done by now, versus who actually starts in week one. So obviously, there's a couple of big injuries that have been announced. Travis Kelce and Cooper Kupp will probably not be playing week one. So it's just kind of a look at, when you see the initial roster versus week one roster, whether it's due to injuries or, shifting or position battles, a lot of times they can be very different. So another reason I have this here is just, I think it's a very, very good looking data visualization. I'm a big proponent of like data visualization design. And I think this is a unique look at some data. So shout out to him. Next one, this comes from Steve Patton. This is a Substack post, and I'm not going to try and sum up the whole Substack post in a couple minutes here, but I suggest everybody reads it because it's very interesting. What he tries to do is separate the play calling on offense and defense from player skill level and opponent strength of schedule and stuff like that. And he's ranked the play callers offense and defense for any coaches that are still active. So I think this is interesting, separating the players from the coaches or really any aspect of the game of football from the rest of the aspects of football is kind of an impossible task, but doing so, you might learn something and it's pretty interesting. Some things that stand out to me is just how good Mike McDaniel is as a play caller. I know we haven't seen much of him, but being number three, very interesting. Also, D'Amico Ryans is a defensive play caller. I guess I didn't watch much of the Texans last year, but they must be pretty good on. Oh, sorry, you know what? He was on the 49ers, but he'll be the Texans head coach this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they perform, especially on defense. And that's all I got. So thanks for watching.